put Matt on too?
But we can't, Matt can't vote unless he's visible, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, we'll call to order the May 8th, 2024 Zionsville Park and Recreation Board meeting. Roll call, Vice President Brian Cambridge.
Excuse me, present.
Secretary Michael Kaufman.
Present.
Chris Barksdale.
Here.
Kimberly Lane.
Here.
Chad Dilley. He is absent. Matt Milburn.
Can you hear us?
So ominous.
Matt is virtual. Can you hear us, Matt?
I don't think so.
Can you hear us, Matt?
Looks like he may have sent something in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
but we can't hear you.
So.
Are you muted?
I don't think he's muted. He is muted.
Also very pink.
Can we hear you, Matt? We have Matt.
Okay, yes.
All right. All right, we have a quorum. So next one is the approval of the April 10, 2024 minutes. Everyone get a chance to review?
Yes.
Do we have any questions or concerns? Since we do have virtual, do a roll call vote. Brian Cambridge?
Approve?
Oh, I'm sorry, we need a
motion.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, roll call. Brian Cambridge?
Aye.
Michael Kaufman?
Aye.
Chris Burksdale?
Aye.
Kimberly Lane?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. Matt Milburn? Did we lose him? Minutes carry. Minutes for April 10th are approved. Next is the April 18th, 2024 special meeting minutes. Everyone get a chance to review that. Any questions or concerns? We have you now.
There we go.
I move we approve the special meeting minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Next, public presentation or comments. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak to the board? Anyone online as well? Nope. All right. Next is Park Foundation update.
Sure. Well, the foundation has been busy increasing their visibility in the community. Lately, they've been at Greenfest. They were at the 100 Hours Kickoff and at Nature Connections. They handed out 200 milkweed plants to the community members and to third graders to plant in our parks. And they will receive milkweed plants through a grant from Monarch Watch, which will be planted in our parks. They secured grant funding from Duke Energy Foundation for a wildlife blind at Carpenter Nature Preserve.
We got you.
I'm not sure.
Can you hear us?
So they want to make sure to encourage the public to contribute to the foundation, especially consider sustaining gifts that would last throughout the year. with a reminder that there are some grants that they can apply for that we're not able to apply for. So it's another way to get more money into the parks. So.
Excellent. When's the next meeting there? Oh, sorry. Just thought I'd ask.
I can't remember.
It's okay. It's all good. All right. Staff reports.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Park Board. Just a couple of items to update this group with from my report. The Big Four Historic Train Depot was installed and dedicated last month along the Big Four Rail Trail. So there was collaboration with members of our community from the Historical Society and Cultural District in creating a plaque to memorialize the train depot that once stood next to Starkey Avenue. So that dedication ceremony was held, and it was fantastic, the turnout for that dedication. Pickleball screens have been added to Mulberry Field's pickleball courts, so one of our windiest parks now has a little bit more refuge when you're trying to hit your wiffle up into the air. All seasonal hiring and part-time hiring for the summer has been fulfilled within our recreation and maintenance department, as well as the department received the Greenways Foundation Outstanding Trail Project last month for our work completing the Big Four Rail Trail to White Sound. So a big kudos for both of our communities from the Greenways Foundation. And that is all from the superintendent report. Chris Flanagan is busy with other items in our park system right now, so he's unable to be here. So happy to highlight a couple of things from the Director of Maintenance report as well. The maintenance team installed temporary fencing around an erosion site on the Big Four Rail Trail. As you're traveling along, you'll likely see some erosion that occurred from the large rains we had in April, so that has been fenced off for the public safety. They installed a memorial plaque to join the mural on the Zionsville Road trailhead. That was a plaque dedicated by the Zionsville Parks Foundation. Cleaned several fallen trees and treated poison hemlock on the northern expansion of the Big Four Rail Trail. They activated water throughout our park system, so our seasonal restroom at Mulberry as well as our drinking fountains are now activated for the community. They installed our shade sails, which join our dog park and several other parks throughout our park system. They installed multiple boards as well as grip tape on the Turkey Foot Bridge to help with traction as runners and cyclists are going over the bridge. And they have conducted several weed wrangles throughout the month of April to target garlic mustard. And that is just a few items from the maintenance report. One more thing before I step back. I hope you'll join us next week as we celebrate Trail Fest. This is the first annual celebration of our trail system. And all week long, we will have events, whether you like to push a stroller, ride your bike, or just simply walk out in nature, we'll have a program for you. And that will conclude on Friday as we have our town showdown, where we have challenged Whitestown to see who can show up in greater numbers. So we will all descend on Heritage Trail Park, and the winning municipality will receive the much coveted golden bike tire. So Zionsville, we're counting on you. We hope you'll show up next Friday and help us ride to Heritage Trail Park. And that is all from me.
Excellent. Before you said, I'm wondering if you could give an update on the progress at OWP. I saw that the contractor had been out there, looks like a couple times, so I didn't know if there was an update there.
Yes, still working through some of those erosion concerns on both the Spiral Mountain as well as the pond. They should be nearing completion on grading, and then our subcontractor to restore some of those dead trees and the prairie plantings has been on site, I believe this week or maybe next, to finalize some of those plantings as well. So we haven't walked through and checked off anything just yet. We're waiting on the request for that motion.
Thank you. All right. Director of Recreation Services, maybe Murdoch.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So April brought us a very, very busy month, and May is turning out to be just as busy in kind of the recreation and programming aspects. So we had 1,457 walk-ins to the Nature Center. It is school program season, so our staff has not been in the Nature Center a lot, so I'm surprising how many we've had so far walking in, because it seems like every time we turn around, we have to close the center because we're all off-site doing something. But we had multiple programs for both Pleasant View and Eagle Elementary, both kindergarten, second, and of course the third grade with the Nature Connections. So those went through all the way through last week. And then this week, we actually are wrapping up Nature Connections on Friday for the trail side kids. They will be at Overlay Warman Park all day doing their final visit and then their service project for the park there. In all, we had 41 programs throughout the month of April. So if you know how many days there are in the month of April, it gives you an idea how busy we were. We kicked off our 100 Hours Outside campaign on May 1st with a walk here at Town Hall. As of right now, we have 160 people registered for that program, and they are turning in their hours. So we will start doing some drawings, and seeing how many actually get to 100 by the end of summer. So, but going very well. We also are wrapping up the activity guide. Everything is to our graphic designer, so we're hoping to get that finalized up and out during Trail Fest next week so people can see what's going on for the summer. We chose 7 artists for our butterfly trail. If you notice when you walked in, one has actually been brought back. They were really fast. The others, we'll bring them back. They have till the end of the month to get them back to us. And then we actually reached out, or they submitted a bunch of different artwork. So we reached out to New Hope of Indiana, and we offered them a pair of wings. So they are collectively working on that. They're a group that works with adults that have some disabilities. And so they are going to be putting together a pair of wings with their statement for that one. So we're looking forward to see what that might look like. So a little bit different. And then as Jared had said, Trail Fest is next week. We want to thank our sponsor, REA, who's here. And then, of course, the Town Showdown. What Jared did not say is that when you do come out to support Zionsville, you have to wear green. So you get counted for us, and don't wear blue. Definitely don't wear blue. Don't care if you like blue, you just can't wear blue. So, and then the end of May, we will have our party in the park again to celebrate the end of the school year on May 31st. It'll be at Mulberry Fields. Similar to last year, we're looking at adding another food truck since it is so popular, but we'll have our favorites out there with Fun Days and Chick-fil-A. But then also we will have a DJ with music, and we are going to have some new games that we have for the Creek Stomper, and we'll also have face painters. So some new things to add to the community. But otherwise, unless you have any questions, that's my report.
Any other questions? Great work as always.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Busy month.
All right. Park Attorney, Amy Nooney.
The items I've been working on will be before you in new business and old business, and I don't have any
Okay.
on those.
Excellent. So let's move on to new business. First up is request for temporary construction easement.
VJ, come up here. Yep. So as you recall, last month there was a request to discuss a structure to be placed on park property from an adjoining neighbor. That is so that they could access the rail trail from their backyard, where currently they are kind of landlocked and have to go around and sit down several streets. So I will turn it over to EJ with more.
Thanks, Jared. EJ Williams. I live at the end of Beechwood Lane, kind of in the village, kind of behind Bloor. Do you see the proposal in front of you? Okay, good. So we spoke last month about and thank you for being willing to listen to a proposal and considering this. So you can see the need is real quickly. If we can't access through our backyard, we have to walk 0.8 miles to get onto the trail. So I would like to place a bridge there. And I won't read all of it through. We've lived in Zionsville 20 years. I went to Pleasant View and then obviously middle school and high school. And throughout those times, I think today is an ask of you guys, right? But I think through the last 20 years, we have volunteered quite a bit to Zionsville. So I think we've given a little bit, and today is an ask. So I wanted to highlight a little bit of what we've done. My dad was on Pathways for a while, had a big hand in starting Zionsville rugby, and he just came from announcing the rugby game. We're the announcers for the Zionsville rugby team. So anyway, we are in touch with the community. So what I'm proposing is a wooden bridge, and you can see the design in the proposal. It's designed to hold 30 pounds per square foot of live load. And there's actually a picture of it because you probably remember it was built and then I took it down. So that structure is what I'm proposing to go back on there, but with the addition of railings that meet the 4-inch rule. Of course, so the 4-inch rule is a standard kind of across the country. So I have a toddler, right? I know why that 4-inch rule exists because they'll fit through anything bigger than that. Lucky for me, there's these railings, and I have a picture of them in the proposal. Those railings could go on the bridge, be just fine. The only thing as well would be proper footings. I'm proposing a slab there, 6 inches thick, 12 inches, or what, 18 inches deep, to give it a proper landing, tied down with some wedge anchors. So that is my plan A. I'd like to, well, I did approach most people in town hall. Mike Dale said he has no objections. And when it comes to permits, he couldn't really think of many. The footing may be one, but if it's not deep enough, then actually it may not be one. But I'll go back to Mike to make sure that that's true. But there weren't any permit issues. I got an opinion from VS Engineering, a civil firm. They gave an opinion clearly listing that the only interested party is you guys as the landowner. DNR is not interested. IDEM is not interested. A few other organizations I never heard of is not interested. So I think we've done a pretty good due diligence here. The question, it was nice to hear last meeting that you guys kind of welcome a bridge like this. So now the theory is this bridge what you guys want? And does this design work for you?
So to clarify, are you proposing to reuse the structure that you already built? That you'll just be fastening it to footing?
Yeah, so I analyzed it, and actually, well, yes, and that is my plan A. If you want to hear a plan B and C, I have those as well. Very prepared for today. But that is plan A. I have it designed here properly so you can see the design and approve it so you know what it is. 2x10 runners, three joists there, and railings, proper footings, tie it down. Calculations here, you can see the screenshot that's 30 pounds per square foot of live load there. And I can add to that if we want higher. Yeah, I can throw some more 2x10s on there pretty easily if we want higher pounds per square foot. But would you like a steel bridge? Because I have one ready.
No, I don't know that we are in a position to approve or deny anything structurally. I think that's probably in the realm of the building department. So I think what we would be approving would be whether or not a bridge is suitable in this area for this use. And I mean, my personal opinion is the same as the last meeting. I would want it if I live there, and I don't see a problem with it, provided that it's built to the standards that the town would build for a similar structure, since it is on town property and will be publicly accessible. But I'm not in a position to say that, you know, this meets that or not. I think that would be the building department, you know, via building permit. And
Is that Mike Dale?
to be honest, I don't know. I haven't submitted a building permit.
Yeah, neither have I.
I do know, I mean, we're building a deck extension sometime this fall. And I mean, I know that any timber load bearing structure requires a deck permit at a minimum. So you have to show your joists and your footers and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's anything complicated, but I think any structure that goes here needs that sign off, just as it would at my house. You know, I look at it, you know, I don't have an objection to the general aesthetic or scale of the bridge. I think that when I look at the footers, they look, I mean, it's more like a slab, like a spread footer, which is not typical for a bridge. So, you know, and the Simpson strong tie that you're showing is typically used on top of a sill board and not exactly in this application, so it's a sort of an atypical solution. I don't know that it may be more than robust or not. It's just because it is atypical and it's not really our realm to approve it. I don't know that I feel comfortable.
I don't disagree.
But I think we could, I don't know what you need from us to go to the building department and get, I don't think our position has changed.
No.
On whether or not we would be supportive of it. I just think that we're not the ones to issue the approval of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And just clarity would be nice because I did walk around town hall and everyone seemed to say there's no precedent and no standard. So I guess I do understand your position as well, though. So I wonder, could you approve of a bridge with the sign off of the building department and Jared at some point afterwards approve that it's the town standards?
Like a conditional approval.
Conditional.
Yeah, I think that's possible, right? And I think it would trip. I mean, I don't know who you talk to in the town, but the ordinances say what you need a permit for and what you don't. I just don't know what you have to provide to them to get that. I would imagine it's somewhat prescriptive, but I wouldn't have a problem with that notion.
But I do have a question. So what I don't see here, what's the lead in onto, to the bridge?
Yeah, I
Right
have
now,
a
this
photo.
picture you see right there is just a big drop off. So I mean, how do you propose to the access to it?
So yeah, you see that photo, and I guess is there a document? No, okay. Your question is on which side, on the trail side or the not trail side?
It's most evident on the trail side because it's hitting.
Oh, that 12-inch. It's a 2x10, so that 10-inch step
Right.
there. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to disrupt the earth without. I did have some kind of realm of not wanting to do anything crazy. So with approval, I would put earth there so that it doesn't have that step off. The goal is a stroller. I have a baby coming in 2 months, so
Right.
goal is a stroller.
Yeah, I think.
Erosion.
Yeah, erosion is something that, typically, so when you have a footing like that that's set into a hillside, you typically have like a wing wall that would come off the either side because you're going to have a point where, you're hitting that joist and everything's going to wash around it. So that may be a detail that they would want to see. I mean, it's not a huge structure, so it's probably a minor thing, if anything at all. But again, that's sort of a building department call, not ours, right?
Okay.
So, conditional approval to proceed, I suppose.
Well, I think I want to hear from Jared. I'd like to know his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I have some questions for our attorney too.
Yeah,
Same,
also,
same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding, we're all one community and being a good neighbor, I think it's ultimately up to the park board to decide this decision. I have both concerns, but also most of those were met. So number one would be safety. And I think we would probably want to at least have a civil stamp or sign off on the structure that it is appropriate for public use in this application. The second is what you were about to get at, I think, is longevity and liability. Once it's installed and someone gets hurt on it, is it default to the park system? Are we encumbering this bridge as our own? And very timely on Monday, there was a similar conversation regarding an encroachment into a drainage easement. And while we can all be on the same page with the resident today, as that house changes hands over the decades to come, those understandings and agreements can get lost pretty quickly. So it's just the full picture to understand about the longevity of the trail and what impact this could have, if any, on our park system.
So an agreement can be conditional to the current property owner, right? And so but the issue is that if that is filed away somewhere and forgotten about, holding a subsequent owner responsible.
Correct. So, I mean, in that scenario, if the future property owner didn't want to maintain it, I think we would just tear it out.
Yeah.
But then there's the expectation that it was there. So these are all just things to think about and make sure we capture in that document should we proceed with that as well.
It's more, your recommendation is making sure that we are documenting all aspects of this very clearly if we are going to move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's almost like you want like an MOU.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is too, who owns the structure,
Right.
So if it's on park board property, it's on our property, but who's responsible for maintenance if there's an issue, or it's deemed unsafe at some point? Do we have the legal authority to remove it or to repair it if necessary? I mean, I think that's stuff that probably just needs to be spelled out. That's not complicated, but it would be part of what we're all agreeing to.
Right. And I did pull some other trail easements we have. We have one with the entrance into the Manchester Estates right there by Parkway, but it is an entity that is responsible for the longevity and upkeep of that trail connection. So a little bit different here.
Oh, sorry.
So this is going from our property to your private property. So my concern is liability, not only that it's, it's public because it's on our property, but things that could then carry over from our public property into your private and the liability.
I mean, we may
That we
need to
might
be
get.
indemnified in that MOU from any of that.
And can't you technically grant some sort of easement at the foot so that then it is technically their legal responsibility, even though we still maintain ownership of the property?
Yes.
Yeah,
She's not-
so I think
yes.
there is a legal solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I
Yeah.
just want to know that I've done my due diligence on the behalf of the
Yeah.
community at large of things that I would be concerned about. I'm 100%, if that was my land, I'd want a bridge there too. So.
Well, and EJ, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to do this properly, because you could have just laid a giant, a couple 2x4s across it and never let us know. So, well, you might.
I think you missed that meeting.
Oh, you did do that. Okay.
That's what this photo is.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I mean, it's a little more than 2x4s.
Better late than never, and they're
Yeah.
2x10s to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it now. So.
Yeah, all good.
And though I think Jared reached out to the town engineer, and he's requested 90.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that was stated, and that
90.
90 pounds per square.
Yeah, because 30 is a residential live load, not a commercial live load.
What is your opinion on 90?
I mean, I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
The engineers have the
Yeah.
opinions.
The town engineer is the one.
I don't get
that
paid to
gave
make that
gave
decision.
Gave that.
I mean,
that's what they would require.
I know when we would build a deck, like at my house, there's a residential building code and there's a commercial municipal building code. And so, for example, like residential decking, you can use traditional decking you can buy at Lowe's. For a commercial deck, you use, dimensional lumber, like 2x10s or 2x6s, because it has to have a higher load, live load. So,
I think your point though is well made. Just like that we're not here to approve it's not our role to approve the
Right,
design
design of it,
or
yeah.
the engineering of it.
Right.
It's more of just conceptually. I think the idea would be we would give approval conditional to working out the legal details
Right.
and working out and getting approval through whatever the appropriate path is. And I wish we could advise you more clearly on what that path is. I feel like we're throwing you back into the
Well, they throw me to you guys.
Yeah, we're throwing you
So-
back into the murk of bureaucracy. I just dealt with this today with something else, and I know how frustrating that can be. But I do think, I think the good thing is to know that, we will then know that process. So you're blazing a trail, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Building bridges.
I think that, I would imagine that the building code spells out.
What where we're discussing. So-
Like that's what, if you're gonna be held to the building, I would assume anyway, the town would, that's what everything we construct is held to. You're gonna, the state building code, you're gonna be held to that. So a lot of the town standards reference that state building code, if that makes sense. So, like for example, when we were looking at extending our deck, I would have to provide, because of the load requirement, we would have to provide engineer drawings showing the spans, the footers, the joists, the fasteners, and the live load rating calculations, and those had to be signed and sealed by a licensed Indiana engineer, right? Like that's just a requirement to get the building permit. So that's explicitly spelled out in the code that says what you need to get the permit, and then what informs the drawings really is probably governed by the state building code, is my guess.
Just real quick, I know we're hitting this a lot. So and I know this is private property, but the Lions Park bridge down from Elm Street is quite familiar because it's the same 2x10s design that I did. So I just want you guys to be aware. And I know you're not here to approve, designs, but It is the same design as that. Oh, sorry, I guess I have another one. So here's one. The first time I did it and then took it down. Sorry. So it is, I mean, I have a proposal for steel bridges. I got a quote for 20 grand. I got a quote for 6 grand. I have one for my sailing club that's being retired. I got all the bridges. But I think this wood one is aesthetically the best. And I really do think it meets load. And if it doesn't meet load, you just throw more 2x10s on it. So, yeah, but obviously you guys aren't here to talk about.
Well, it's not just the 2x10s, it's the decking too. So you
Okay.
use,
Those are 16 on center.
no, well, anyway, that's not mine.
Yeah.
That's just another consideration. It's not just the joists, it's also the decking.
Yeah.
Now the deckings are.
So anyway, I mean, I'm supportive of it as long as since we're inheriting, I'm assuming some liability regardless of what we sign and who signs what, it's on our property. Then it just needs to be signed off on by the town's engineer and then built to that standard. And I think we need an MOU, Jared, that maybe you and Amy could draft out that says, here's who owns what, who's responsible for what, and what happens if, whatever the conditions are that we feel comfortable with, that the parties on both sides understand responsibility and who has ultimate control.
Yep.
So is there a motion needed to?
Yes.
Okay.
I would recommend a motion. And make it, so it would be contingent upon the building permit and a successfully negotiated MOU or temporary construction easement / maintenance easement. So make it contingent upon those things, because you want it to come back and have the MOU approved before the build is done. So it's conditional upon those two things.
Can they say so moved on what you just said?
Yes.
We have a motion to approve.
Motion on what
We
was
have a
just
second.
Second.
Let's do roll call vote. Brian Cambridge,
Aye.
Michael Kaufman,
Aye.
Chris Barksdale,
Aye.
Kimberly Lane,
Aye.
and I say aye as well too.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Motion carries. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, Big Four Rail Trail Maintenance Easement.
Thank you, John. So working closely with the Spring Knoll POA, we have developed this trail easement to just eternalize the agreements in place for the continued maintenance of our Big Four rail trail in that area. So the document before you spells out the responsibilities of the department, which is to essentially maintain the corridor as a public pathway, as well as address any vegetation and hazards like that within the corridor, as well as indemnifications and servability beyond that and all the legalese that Amy helps protect us with. But happy to answer any questions. And upon your consideration, once approved, we would ask that John sign this document, and then we would have it recorded between the POA and the park board for the longevity of the maintenance of the trail.
Was there one before? Or is it because of the expansion is what's kind of pushed it this direction?
Well, this kind of came up, this project came up because of the expansion. But this is really just cleaning up a few areas that we did not have a recorded easement for the trail on.
Yes.
So we had it for, a few tracks, and then we had some holes where we did not have a recorded easement. So we just wanted to clean that up and then go beyond and memorialize the agreement on maintenance.
I mean, I'd make a motion to approve it.
Do you have a second?
As presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Resolution to transfer land to Lions Park.
We are back at this once more for a victory lap. So, as you recall, last year this body did approve the donation of the tot lot area and the tennis courts that are in Lions Park. Those were originally gifted by the Lions Park nonprofit when Lincoln Park went from a larger size down to its footprint today. So kind of a trade at that time. And as Lions Park is looking to expand and master plan their park with their new acreage, we thought it was an appropriate time to hand back this less than an acre lot so that they could incorporate that into their design and change or save as they saw appropriate. So originally we believed that this was deeded to the town, but upon further research, that was transferred to the park board at its creation in the 70s. So once again, the authority is yours to release this land. So with your consideration, we would request approval for John to, well, first, approval of the resolution for the park board to transfer the land, then second, for John as park board president to sign that quitclaim deed.
And would that be a single motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'd make a motion to approve the quitclaim deed as presented in the packet and authorize John to sign said quitclaim deed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
All right, and one more item under this agenda item to consider. As we discussed recently, the Storins, who are in between the newly acquired 5 acres of the Lions Park as well as Elm Street Green, have been great advocates for connectivity and public use. They granted the park board an easement years ago, which also included a right of first refusal. So should they attempt to sell their house, the park board would have first stake at that claim. So we're not really looking to become, real estate moguls in town. We're just looking to conserve green space and connect our neighborhoods. So this request is to adjust the Storin easement. One part is to remove the right of first refusal within that existing easement, and the second is to have it match the easement that we are crafting with the Lions Park. So the current easement is around 197 feet to the north side and 222 feet to the south side. We only need approximately 100 feet from creek center to have an appropriate trail. So just deeding back a little bit, well, providing back a little bit of that former easement.
Is there not, I mean, I remember we looked at the connection there, but would there, and I understand your point about not wanting to necessarily buy a bunch of land, but at some point is more park space adjacent to existing park space desirable for the city?
Yes, but I think in this situation, they have been such advocates for public use. They kind of got burned previously by that right of first refusal when they entertained.
So they're requesting this
Yes,
change.
and I think it's more than appropriate to consider removal of it.
I think also in the event that we were trying to exercise right of first refusal, are we going to pull together $1.5 million to buy that house?
Right.
I mean,
Exactly
or
right.
more.
Or
So it's
more.
tied to
Well, all
the
we want is-
sale, it's
all we
first
want is the
right
flood-
refusal for the
flood plain is all
entire,
we
it's not
want.
like a
The
carve
entire
out.
property, I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
not
Okay,
just the
never mind.
easement.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a long property. It's just a
I mean, if
floodplain.
it were like a property that was positioned to redevelop, I'd feel differently, but we're not. I think they just built that house like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 2016 plan, previous master plans, they've only shown a pathway connecting Lions
Okay.
Park and Elm. So it was never,
Never imagined to be
Yes,
more than that.
correct.
Okay.
But so, when they do go to sell this easement, it carries over automatically, or is it?
easement, yeah,
It's
easement.
tied to the property. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, so this new easement that we will draft at a later date, well, we already have authority to sign it once it's finalized with Lions Park.
Oh, yes. The
So,
one from Lions Park.
yes,
Yes.
so with this flip, we will retain it'll run with the land.
And so we're not giving away the easement that we need
No.
right now. We're just retaining what we need and we're separating off what we don't need and quit claiming that piece back to them.
Yeah,
But
so-
yes, what
I
we
got you.
need stays with the land.
Essentially going from 200 feet down to 100, which is all we need.
How many motions do we need here for this?
I've lost count.
I think just one. We just have
It's
one,
just for the-
just one document, yes.
Okay.
It's just authorization to approve John to sign the quitclaim deed and release of right of first refusal.
You have a motion?
I make a motion to allow John to sign the quitclaim deed to release the right of first refusal.
We
I
have a
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay.
John, do you want
Motion
to do
carries.
roll call vote?
Probably, yeah.
That's probably
Yeah, let's do a roll call. Apologize. Ryan Cambridge,
Aye.
Michael Kaufman,
Aye.
Chris Barksdale,
Aye.
Kimberly Lane,
Aye.
and I say aye as well too. Motion carries. All right, special use permit, town showdown drone use.
Thank you. With with Amy's template for authorizing special uses in our park system, before you is a permit for drone use from the town of Whitestown during our town showdown next Friday. So simply placing in the same liabilities and parameters that we did with the previous drone special use permits that were granted, and just requesting your authorization for John to sign that agreement and have that in place for our town showdown next Friday.
And didn't we just establish that this is like acceptable?
Yeah, but a new person at the table, so.
Yeah, so we just have to, every time someone comes and say they want to do this.
No, I realize
yeah,
that, but we just like established like that who, the type of people, the type of authorities that can use drone in this space, and this qualifies in that particular. I'm just pointing out, I'm glad we had this discussion
Yeah.
already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so-
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Clarifying that because I was like, I think we just.
We updated the park rules to
Yes, that's what I'm
authorize
referring to.
drone takeoff and landing in designated areas, which currently we have none, except when authorized through a special permit.
Yeah, it's great,
Yep, using the processes.
great.
I can add, I believe Glenn is with the town of Whitestown, correct? He's amazing. He's done a lot of stuff with our Whitestown branch, drone footage, both inside and out. It has been just stupendous. I can't say enough good things about
So
it.
he knows,
awesome.
he knows what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have a motion to approve Whitestown to use drone through the town showdown.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, special permit for Mulberry Fields pickleball tournament.
Yes, so with our fee schedule, we were able to offer court reservations for the pickleball courts this year, and this would be the first request for a tournament. This is from our local fire department. It is the Boone County Professions of Firefighters, and they are requesting to have a tournament that would have Grace Food Truck there as well. So we have granted food truck activity with shelter reservations in the past, so this is kind of just the same association with that. Really see no harm in it. It's kind of a tournament that we're hoping draws attention to the park, and that'll make people hungry. So with your approval, we will request that John signs the special use permit for the food truck activity associated with the pickleball tournament.
I make a motion to approve the request as stated in the packet for Grace Food Truck during the firefighters pickleball tournament at Mulberry Fields.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
All right.
All right, special use permit, Mulberry Fields Rugby Community Day.
One more, very similar to the last one, would be for permission to allow a food truck to be at Mulberry Fields this Friday for the Rugby League's Community Day. So I did not realize just how much the rugby club has grown since 2020 when we kind of began conversations. So I think the food truck will be well supported during that day. And again, this seems like an appropriate use for the special use permit in this occasion.
Yeah, definitely drive by there and love seeing how many cars are there. And it's a combination of both rugby and baseball, but it just used to be kind of a desert for the longest time. So I'm glad this is all getting used. So
Absolutely.
we have a motion to approve the Rugby Community Day food truck.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, old business. Carpenter Nature Preserve Maintenance Barn bid.
Thank you, John. As you recall, last month, we received one sealed bid from our advertisement for leasing out the Carpenter Nature Preserve bond. That was Mike Coker, who was the current and past tenant of the structure as well. He did offer a $1 a year lease. So with that bid, we posted that we are going to accept a bid below 90% of the appraised rental value, and Amy has drafted this lease agreement for your consideration. So essentially, the lease outlines the terms, so it'll be a one-year term for that dollar. It can be extended on 30-day notice and renewals. There is a 90-day clause for termination within that one-year period. The tenant will maintain the exterior of the building, the integrity of downspouts, foundation, and things like that. They will carry an insurance for a $500,000 per person and $1 million per occurrence, protecting the park board. and they will be responsible for the cost associated with the utilities of the structure. So essentially, not inviting any additional cost to our operations while the tenant is there. And then at the one-year term, we can discuss the exact timeline of the park park maintenance resuming that building as the park opens up.
You said that goes to 30 days, after 1 year, it goes to 30 days.
Yes.
And then basically it becomes month to month at that point.
Right, yes.
Make a motion to sign the lease.
Yeah. You have a second?
Second.
Oh, we have a second. All right. Let's do a roll call vote. Ryan Cambridge.
Aye.
Michael Kaufman.
Aye.
Chris Barksdale.
Aye.
Kimberly Lane.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. John Slovich say aye as well too. Motion carries. All right. Next is other board-related items. Anyone has any items that to discuss or concerns?
Oh, wait.
No. Very good. Next is claims. Everyone have a chance to review claims as presented. Any questions or concerns?
No.
We have a motion to present claims as presented.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Ryan Cambridge,
Aye.
Michael Kaufman,
Aye.
Chris Barksdale,
Aye.
Kimberly Lane.
Aye.
Aye. John Slovich say aye as well too. Motion carries. All right. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Meeting adjourned. Next meeting will be June, what is it? I don't know what that is. Second Wednesday of June.
It's crazy that it's
Way to save it,
Yeah.
I know.
June 12th.
June 12th.